Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen nabiyyina Muhammadi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een amma ba'du. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to our special hour. It's the third of three lectures, pre-Ramadan lectures on preparing or preparation for Ramadan. The first one was about how or when do I start the Ramadan. So I don't know what happened there. Something just turned on, which it wasn't supposed to turn on. Anyway, so what was I saying? So yes, so the first of the three lectures was based on when I should be starting my Ramadan. The second one was about where I should give or who I should give my zakat to. And I noticed, unfortunately, that for some reason the recording didn't pick up the audio. So there's some questions which are outstanding from that session, which I will tackle today. So let me tackle those first, and then I will go to the other matter, which is of today's lecture. So the question which came in about the zakat questions was this one here, which said, Assalamu alaikum. UWT has the option of giving zakat towards the cataract surgery. They replied saying zakat for cataract surgery is given to the hospitals where the surgery takes place. This is providing the person requesting the surgery is zakat eligible. Will zakat be discharged in this case if one is not sure if zakat is transferred to those eligible? Do you know if One Nation UK zakat distribution is 100% trustworthy? So I gave a long lecture, which I'm not going to repeat today. A long lecture, I'll give a mukhtasar of it, which is that whichever charity we give our zakat to, then you need to make sure that they have a zakat policy in place. Now, also, should you make sure that they have a zakat policy in place, you need to make sure that their practice it reflects their policy. Thirdly, that they have a reputable Sharia scholar that acts as the officer or the auditor, not just an advisor, because an advisor doesn't mean anything. An advisor can give advice and the charity can refuse it, but rather somebody who has some authority over the charity. And then finally, there has to be some kind of auditing that takes place, an audit report. Once you've done all your due diligence on that charity, then you should give zakat. This is not about just giving your zakat to anybody or everybody. It's about you being responsible and doing your due diligence. A bit like, for example, when you need to pray salah, you do your due diligence. Is the place where I'm praying pure? Am I in a state of wudu? Am I pointing towards Qibla? Is it salah time? You do all those 5, 6, 7 things before you pray your salah, before you offer your salah. Similarly, fasting, has fasting time started? Is this thing that I take, is this going to break my fast or is it not going to break my fast? Is this going to make my fast makruh? These are questions which we should all be asking ourselves before we engage in something. So zakat is no different. Before we give our zakat to somebody, it's our responsibility to make sure that that organization we give it to is sound. And the only way we're going to know if that organization is sound is that it has a zakat policy, it has a reputable, highly regarded scholar as the officer rather than advisor. Its practice reflects its policy. It is audited and there is an audit report available. These are important factors that will help you decide about who to give your zakat to. With regards to this question, which said that if zakat is given for cataract surgery to a hospital, which might be for paying for equipment or might be paying for a surgeon that carries out, the surgeon's wages that carries out the cataract, then it can be such that the person who is zakat eligible can say to the charity that please collect zakat on my behalf, and when you collect zakat on my behalf, then use it to buy the equipment that's needed for the cataract and also employ a surgeon that can carry out my cataract operation. So the zakat recipient is the actual individual upon whom the operation is going to be conducted. He then tells the charity that don't give me the money, keep the money, but use my zakat money for these purposes. Therefore, if there is instruments bought with zakat money, if there is a zakat surgeon, then only those who are zakat eligible can use them. Nobody else can use it, because then that means zakat is being spent in the wrong area. You asked the question, do you know if One Nation UK zakat distribution is 100% trustworthy? I have worked with some members of One Nation, and I found them to be upright, reputable individual. I cannot say what goes on behind the scenes because I have not been engaged with One Nation as an auditor. So how I cannot say what goes on behind the scenes. I can only go by what is zahir, what is apparent, and the individuals that I've dealt with are honest, fair, and conduct their work in a sound manner. But that's just my engagement with them. That's not an audit. That's not my certificate, so I cannot mention anything about that. Someone wanted to know, they received gifts like clothes and jewelry or bought items for themselves like plants. Then they decided to sell them, but it didn't get sold, or they decide not to sell it after advertising it. Do they need to pay zakat on those items as they intended to sell it? In those cases where a person has received gifts, okay, where they have received gifts, and then they later decide, oh, I might sell these, or they decide they're going to sell them and then change their mind, then there is no zakat due upon it because those items were given as gifts. And until they remain as gifts, then there is no zakat due. Once the item is sold and the money which is generated, zakat is due on that. So that covers those few outstanding questions that I had because of, unfortunately, my audio was not getting picked up. There was another question on the gents group that I would answer. And it is here. Assalamu alaikum. Between the khutbah and the Jummah Salah, can you make announcements of upcoming masjid programs? Wa alaikum salam. No, between the khutbah and the Jummah Salah, there should be no announcements. It should be silence. The people should be waiting for the Imam or the Khatib to descend from the mimbar and stand on the Musalla and wait for the Iqamah and follow the Salah. There should be no interruption of talking in between there. Okay. Next question, which is quite a long one. Assalamu alaikum. My question was regarding acting as a broker to provide loans. I work for a company that sells glasses, and the customers have an option to buy expensive glasses through an interest-free loan provided by another company named Adaro. I act as a broker to provide the loan and sign the loan contract. Adaro charges service fee every month to my company as they provide a loan to my company's customer. Will this service fee be regarded as interest? They also charge my company 0.35, 35 pence direct debit collection fee, as they have to collect money from the customer every month. In the contract, it states that Adara can go to court if the customer does not pay the loan back. And if they win the case, the court will charge interest that the customer will have to pay to Adaro on top of the loan amount. Taking into consideration all these things, will acting as a witness, as I have to sign the contract, and being a broker to provide this loan to the customer be halal for me? Okay, if this is all you do, meaning that all you do is you provide loans as a broker, then it's advisable to move on from this particular role. Reason being is that in that contract, they will sign to agree to pay interest if they do not meet the interest-free period. So there will be clauses in there. Obviously, I've not seen the contracts. I'm just giving you a general situation that these type of contracts are. So therefore, it is advisable to move because there's ambiguity in this, and there's absolutely certainly not pure from the sense of the word in this transaction. Then one should move into another area of brokerage. And I think that covers those questions that we had there. There's one other question which came separately. So let me just get that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Pray you are well. Barakallahu feek. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Question: is it permissible to give sadaqatul fitr according to wheat chapati flour that we eat? If it's permissible, what is the amount of sadaqatul fitr, fitrana, according to chapati wheat flour? Can you please work it out and let me know? Okay, with regards to flour, then the view of the fuqaha is that flour may be given, but only if the flour value is at least equivalent to the wheat grain value. If the flour value is lower than the wheat grain value, then one shouldn't give the flour value. So therefore, if you go to our website, wifaqululama.co.uk, you will see that we have the values there already. The lowest value for wheat grain from memory is £5, 5 English pounds sterling. And there are other values for dates and other food commodities, which one can use as well to work out sadaqatul fitr. The flour, because it tends to be considerably cheaper than wheat grain, flour can be as little as £1 for a kilo and a half. So therefore, one can't go to flour. Only in exceptional circumstances one can use flour, but in general circumstances that's not permitted. Okay, so I think that covers all the questions. So it brings us now on to, I've got a feeling I've done something with the commentary, so you can't add questions. I've got a feeling, because I've not seen this before. Maybe if one of you could just put a question here to see if anything comes up, because I think I've not allowed people to comment. Khair, I don't understand how I did that, but I must have done. So today's session is about how should I spend Ramadan with modern day challenges. So in reality, when we speak about modern day challenges, we are in fact talking about social media. Bismillah. Because in reality, when we speak of modern day challenges, then it is social media. What we find, unfortunately, is that, I've got a phone here to my right, I've got a laptop here in front of me, is that we are pretty much not too much glued on our laptops. We're pretty much glued on our phones. That's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. Good thing because I guess we can communicate faster with people. We can get jobs done. I always crack a joke, in our business meetings when we've had our introductory exploratory business meeting. I always say, okay, are we setting up a WhatsApp group? Why? Because WhatsApp group seems to solve all the world's problems. Joking aside, though, what we find is we're spending more and more time on our phones, and it's not just productive time. As I said, it's a very useful tool. Don't get me wrong. I use it very often because it's my go-to device when I'm doing anything, whether it's meetings, whether it's planning, whether it's typing something up, whether it's making some notes, whatever it might be, watching something, messaging somebody, emailing somebody. The mobile phone is my go-to device. But the problem is it comes with other things. Okay, and the first thing we need to be worried about during Ramadan is that our phone does not take up too much of our time. Okay, because if our phone is taking up too much, now, like I said, the phone you could be using to recite the Quran. So then it's a good thing. The phone you could be doing to remind you of certain dua to recite at certain times. The phone could be used for counting your tasbihat on it. So the phone can have a good purpose. I'm not talking about the good purpose here, so park that up. What I'm talking about is the unfortunate use of the phone. And one of the key areas that we found, obviously, is addiction. So when you have notifications, you find, for example, let's use X, formerly known as Twitter, and you go on there, then you'll find that the algorithms, depending on what you've been looking at, the phone knows that you've paused and you're staring at something or you're reading something. Then it realizes that that type of news interests you. That type of news attracts you. So next, what it will do is it will feed that into your feed. And you will get more of those stories, more of those things. So what happens is you're reading it more now, and it becomes like a vicious circle. Okay. And so therefore, the addiction level of social media is exceptionally high. And if you feel that the addiction is not high, put your phone away for a day or 2 days and see what happens. Okay. If you don't get cold turkey after half a day, then, let me know. Absolutely. It's proven, scientifically proven, that social media and generally the phone is very addictive. Okay, it's very addictive. You see people now on, say, TikTok, and just spending hours and hours on TikToks, watching one silly video after another silly video after another. And then they're going to say, oh, I'll put my phone down now. And then another silly video comes up. And then when you ask them how long they've been on that particular app, they'll say they've been on for half an hour, an hour and a half. And they don't even realize how quickly their time went. So these, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram, obviously I'm only going to name those that I know, whether it's X, whatever it might be wary of time being soaked up. Now, gambling companies now have to come out with a statement to say that, only gamble for a certain number of hours or something and then switch the app off and go away. Okay, why? Because it saves you kind of becoming addicted. I guess most gamblers are addicted, but it's a less addiction, I guess. So what you would do in Ramadan is allocate some time for when you're going to go on your phone. Okay, and you may be better off switching notifications off to certain apps, because when it notifies you, if you're a little bit like me and you see that little red number or the number inside a little red circle, you kind of think, oh, I got to read that. I got to see that. It could be something important. It could be something important. You're checking your phone more often than you're getting notifications. So do you really need notifications? So it might be during Ramadan, apart from the phone ringing, okay? Apart from the phone ringing and maybe an app that you use quite often, whether it's Telegram or WhatsApp or text message, then bar that, and maybe certain groups you can cancel and switch off your notifications, reduce the allure, reduce the addiction, reduce the drive that your phone is continuously calling you and saying, pick me up, pick me up, pick me up. Okay? Because mark my words, that you will find hours and hours will go and you will not have achieved anything during Ramadan. Okay? You'll think, how many, juz, how many para have I prayed? And you might have done like, I don't know, one juz over 5 days or 6 days. You'll find that you've hardly spent any time in the masjid. You'll find that you've hardly spent any time listening to a lecture. You'll find that you spent hardly any time doing some azkar. You'll find that you spent hardly any time performing your qadha salahs that you have been accumulating, that you have missed as soon as you became baligh, because unfortunately you were misguided or you were preoccupied with other things. So the main thing to do is understand that if I'm being told to fast from food, and if I'm being told to fast from drink, then why don't we use those same hours to also fast from social media? Okay. So absolutely fine that you have a phone because somebody's going to ring you. I get that. Absolutely fine to have a phone because someone's going to text you or something. But there's no need to go on social media. There's no need to go on to TikTok. There's no need to go on to X or anything. So during the fasting hours, also fast from your social media. Okay. And at least that's a start. What you might do is, because when you're fasting, you see, you're learning self-discipline, you're learning self-control. That's what you're really doing. So if you're learning self-discipline and self-control, then this is another thing that we need to become more disciplined, more control over, about how we manage and our social media engagement. And if you can do it over 29, 30 days, then you can do it as you come out of those 29, 30 days. Because the whole maqsad say of fasting is that if you can give up the halal for 29, 30 days, then you can quite easily give up the haram outside of Ramadan. So that's one thing with regards to social media. The other thing, unfortunately, is that most of the time, because this gets the most clicks and this gets the most viewing, is there is something which is going to be haram on it. Okay, so either there's going to be music, either there's going to be men and women engaging in inappropriate behavior, or there's going to be nudity, or worse still, there's going to be sexual engagement. And what that's doing is that it's drawing our time more into that, because unfortunately, those things sell. Unfortunately, those things attract our attention. So because those things sell, because those things attract our attention, then what happens is we are constantly gazing and looking at that. And that consumes our time. We know, again, like pornography, for instance, is highly addictive. A person starts watching and engaging, then he says, oh, I'll watch another one, I'll watch another one, I'll watch. Before he knows it, he's been 2-3 hours staring at his phone, watching these sorts of things. So it's not just the time that this person is losing, it is the haram that he's looking at. And whereas before haram was difficult, it was difficult to engage in that kind of level of haram. You had to go to particular places, or you had to pay a particular amount of money or some kind of subscription. Nowadays, it's freely available on one's phone. And because it's freely available, it becomes easy to fall into traps. So the second big issue of social media is, unfortunately, the haram content that is on there. So therefore, we have to be very careful about that. If it is not haram things of a physical nature, then unfortunately we're all into the gossip and the telltales and the drama that goes on. So it's not remarkable that we find that reality TV is doing very well, whether it's couples forming relationships or breaking relationships, whatever it might be. It draws huge crowds of people as they watch couples breaking up or couples forming, and that kind of engagement. There were certain programs that used to be on TV where people were placed in a house and they would just literally follow them, what they do. And what are they doing? They're either gossiping about each other, they're backbiting about each other, or they're slandering each other. And all we're doing is we're getting excited watching that. We're getting thrilled at, one couple breaking up because one woman has been unfaithful, or a man has been unfaithful, and we get cheap thrills out of that. We get excitement out of that as we're watching it, as it's consuming more of our time and more of our hours. And again, going back to social media, what we find is, unfortunately, that people are just having a go at somebody else. The amount of hate, excuse me, the amount of hate that you see on social media, again, hate sells. People get worked up. Racism sells, Islamophobia sells, these sorts of things sell. So when you see somebody talking about, Islam, or burning the Quran, for example, that sells. That's why people do it, because it draws attention. They get the right-wing people supporting them. They get the Muslims angry with them. So the Muslims are engaging with them because they're angry. The right-wing are engaging with them because they're supporting them. What's he getting? He's getting clicks on his social media platform. He's getting likes, he's getting views. And what that does, obviously, because we know now most of these are payment, there's a payment involved as well. This person gets richer, so he posts more of that material. So all we're doing is we're engaging or supporting backbiting, we're supporting slander, we're supporting lying, and deception and things of that nature. And these are all things that we have been forbidden to support, and we have been forbidden to get engaged with. And it becomes so easy now to lie. Before, for your lie to reach the other side of your city would take weeks, if not months. Now you can put something on social media and it reaches the other side of the world within seconds. So your lie can spread very quickly as well. So that's something else that we need to be absolutely concerned about in this day and age. We've talked about a number of sins, backbiting, slander, lying, nudity, offensive behavior, sexual engagements, gratification on social media. We've seen lots of different things which are ongoing. And the bottom line of all of this is it's a sin. But not only is it a sin, people are now content in sharing their sins. So you see, there was a lady, Allah forbid, who got involved with having intimacy with 100 men in one day, or 1,000 men in one day or something. And she was quite thrilled at that. And you see now groups of women sat around on talk shows and podcasts talking about their body counts, about how many men they've been with and what they've done and whatever. And so one is a person committing a sin, which is bad enough as it is. The next thing is glorifying that sin and pushing that sin onto others. And now, there's this thing called OnlyFans, where young women are being drawn onto it as a means of income, as a means of a job. And they're making more money within a week or within a month than a person would get if they worked for a full year or even 5 years of their life in a reasonable job. So now we're actually rewarding people who are committing these sins. And this will just get worse, unfortunately. So this is not only is it public sins, there's a justification of sins, but also there is a monetizing of sins, which is a very dangerous thing, because that was kind of unheard of, monetizing sins. And the worse the sin, the more likes this person is getting, the more people are drawn to it, some out of curiosity and some out of a general depravity or disgustingness. So that's going on. And then you got the other group of people who want to show off their watches, or want to show off their nice cars, or want to show off their houses, or want to show off what they've achieved in life, or want to show off their wife, or want to show off their husband, or show off the swimming pool that they have. So riyā is being also shared. Arrogance, kibr, people who are more arrogant are kind of looked at. So there's certain MMA fighter whose arrogance is glorified. It's considered as a good quality, a good trait, and it's liked. So you're seeing the mass transmission of arrogance, the mass transmission of riyā, showing off, the mass transmission of and drawing people towards this kind of thing. And again, social media really does push this out. So what we can do as people sat down, we can react in a certain way. We can either react in an envious way because we're envious of that person, because we're saying, why has he got it? Why haven't I got that? And so the envy is haram because we don't like somebody else doing well. It hurts us, it annoys us, it makes us angry. So we have hasad, we have evil eye. Or we could glorify this person's behavior because to us now he's an idol. To us now he's somebody of a high quality. To us now we glorify him, we promote him, we become his followers or his supporters. We saw with the Tate brothers and their behavior, and how young men got glued to them and didn't really even understand what they were saying. Muslim men in particular didn't even really understand what they were saying until they became very clear about their behavior and what it is that they were trying to instill. So in short, best thing to do as Ramadan approaches, we're a couple of days away now from Ramadan approaching, is draw yourself a timetable. And please don't go crazy. Many people draw a timetable. I'll do tahajjud, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do this, I'll do that. And then day 2, they collapsed. So be realistic. Okay. Know that you've got work, know that you've got whatever else you do, and make a realistic timetable. Include your salah times in there, include the Taraweeh times in there, and now say, okay, what else can I do? We know that we should try to recite the Quran more often. So there should be somewhere where you're reciting the Quran. Suhoor time is a good time, and then some other time. Okay, the next thing is, are there any qadha salahs that you owe? If there are, then use some portion of the night to perform your qadha salahs. If that's going to prove too difficult because you're at school, college, university, or work, then maybe use some time in the evening or sometime during the day. You have a full lunch hour and you ain't eating, so you can use that for your qadha salahs. Thirdly, try to become a better person after Ramadan than you were as you entered Ramadan. The only way that's going to happen is learn new knowledge. And on that point, we will be delivering a series of lectures, inshallah, over the Ramadan period. So let me tell you what it is that we will be doing. Let me find the right person. There we are. So we will be, where are all the posters? There. So fiqh hour, what we're doing now. There's going to be fiqh half hour, okay, on Wednesdays. If Ramadan starts on Sunday, then the Wednesday which follows, so next Wednesday, the Wednesday after, so Wednesday the 5th of March, which is next Wednesday the 12th of March, Wednesday the 19th of March, and Wednesday the 24th of March. Different times, because it will be about 45 minutes after Maghrib Bradford time, because obviously Bradford is the center of the universe, and it will finish after about half an hour. Okay, based on the questions. If there's not that many questions, it might finish earlier. Okay, so that's going to be for half an hour every Wednesday. So put that in your diary. About 45 minutes. So the first one is at 6:40 for the first week. Second week it's at 7. Third week it's at 7:20, and fourth week it's at 7:40. It will last for half an hour. That's on Wednesdays. Okay. Then we're going to have what we've referred to as the Ayyuhal Walad, Words of Counsel course, which is Imam Ghazali's, rahimahullah ta'ala, letter to his student. And in there, he imparts advices to his student, about 24 pieces of advice. So we'll be delivering 24 lectures, inshallah. Again, around those times I gave you, week 1, 6:40, week 2, whatever I said, 6:50, week 3, 7 o'clock, week 4, 7:10, whatever it is. If you follow this YouTube channel, it will give you those times, inshallah. And that will be for about 20 minutes. And it will be 20 minutes focusing on one of the words of counsel that Imam Ghazali rahimullah sent to his student. Okay. And that will be from Monday to Sunday inclusive, except Wednesday, because fiqh hour is going to be on Wednesday. So that, inshallah, is in a nutshell. If you join our WhatsApp group, search Mufti Amjad Mohammed, we have a WhatsApp channel, and therefore you'll get all these updates and everything on there. If not, subscribe to this YouTube channel, then you will be given notifications when we're going live, because there's always going to be 5-10 minutes, aage piche, back and forth. Reason being is, obviously, if there's something problem, I'm coming to my house, I'm running a bit late after Maghrib, I break my fast a bit late, then there might be a 5-10 minute delay. So be patient, okay? We're trying our best to meet the needs of everybody. Obviously, it will be recorded. It goes live, and then it is recorded, and it's available on our channel. But obviously, if you come on to the session, then it's a live session, and you can hear everything that needs to be said. So I think that's all of it. So 24 sessions of Ayyuhal Walad, Monday to Sunday, not Wednesday. And on Wednesday, it's going to be fiqh half hour. Okay. And I think that's that. Again, there'll be opportunity for questions and answers. Okay, so they don't worry about questions and answers. There will be opportunity for them. So please do continue with those questions and answers on the session. As I said, I think I've blocked you with my live commentary mode only, which means you cannot send questions. But inshallah, next time around, I'll be a little bit careful so you actually can. So now, inshallah, the next session will be when Ramadan starts. Which could be on Friday night if the hilal is seen, and then the first session will be on Saturday. First Ramadan will be on Saturday, and our session will start on Monday. So by Monday, Ramadan would have started. So this weekend there will be no sessions. On Monday at 6:40. Make a note of this. Monday, 6:40 p.m. will be the first session of Ayyuhal Walad, which will be the advice that Imam Ghazali Rahimullah gave to his student. And then Tuesday will be Ayyuhal Walad as well. Wednesday will be fiqh, half hour. Thursday will be Ayyuhal Walad. Friday will be Ayyuhal Walad. Saturday and Sunday as well. And then they repeat the week after, but the times will change the week after. So please do bear those times in mind. Make a note of it. Share this with friends and family so that at least they have this session, so they have a productive Ramadan, inshallah. Make that timetable and be careful about how much time you're spending on your phone. Jazakumullah khairan wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.